Frustration is frustration. I mean, try your best not to point fingers. So you just try to clean up what you can, execute the best you can, and be part of the solution. So, we just got to be better.
You won't believe how wild this got. Myles Garrett straight up snapped on Kevin Stefanski, and the whole Browns squad looked like they just stepped into a storm they couldn't escape. This wasn't some quiet disagreement. It was full steam, full attitude, full chaos, with tension so thick you could slice it with a plastic fork. Fans were stunned, players were frozen, and the locker room energy went from awkward to explosive in seconds. Cleveland really outdid themselves this time because somehow they managed to turn a regular game into a full-blown meltdown. They lost to the New York Jets. Yes, those Jets, the same team that usually struggles to make a highlight reel that doesn't end up on a comedy page. And somehow, the Browns walked into the stadium like they were allergic to winning and said, "Let's make their week." That alone had fans rubbing their eyes like, no way this is real. And it wasn't like the Jets suddenly transformed into some legendary squad. They weren't channeling vintage greatness or turning into some 2007 style powerhouse. They literally just waited for Cleveland to beat themselves, and Cleveland delivered like it was a gift basket. Drop passes flying everywhere, busted coverages, and an offensive line that folded faster than a cheap beach chair in a windstorm.
With you guys, losing this game and kind of now being behind the 8 ball, do you stick with Dillon Gabriel after this game, or do you think about making a change?
Yeah, we're going to stick with Dillon. Obviously, this is a young players that you're always trying to get one game better and those type of things, but we have to play better as an offense. We have to coach.
It was chaos on the field and confusion on the sideline. The offense looked scared of momentum. The defense was basically playing hide and seek with effort. And the coaching? Man, the coaching felt like someone tried to freestyle a game plan during commercial breaks. But the real drama didn't hit until after the clock expired. That's when everything really blew open. Because once that final whistle dropped, Myles Garrett, the Browns' real-life superhero stuck inside a team that should probably book a group therapy appointment, finally hit his breaking point. He didn't hold back, not even a little. No sugarcoating, no calm tone, no "we'll fix it next week" energy. He came after Stefanski with pure frustration and the kind of honesty nobody was ready to hear. And let's be real, someone in that building had to say it eventually. Apparently, Kevin's been flashing this shiny little excuse called rebuilding, like it's some magical shield that explains everything, even while the squad keeps falling apart right in front of his eyes. Week after week, the Browns look like they're unraveling, but Stefanski acts like it's all part of some long 5-year spiritual journey nobody signed up for. Myles basically said,
In the second half, they started to be able to move the football a little bit more on the ground. They had that screen pass, obviously, to Brees. Just what were they able to sort of exploit with you guys to make some of those plays happen when they needed them most?
I mean, they were sick with the run game. They didn't want to turn it into a drop-back game. And, they were moving the pocket, doing things to try to take the rush out of it. And I think just their commitment to it, kind of like Detroit did. Trying to wear us down, and they made the plays they needed to. It was a good call screen. I think we need to look at what happened to Karsh doing that, because
what every Browns fan has been yelling into their living rooms for weeks: you can't keep blaming everything on a rebuild. And honestly, he's right. Imagine being one of the most dominant defensive players in the entire league, giving max effort every single week, only to watch your offense fold up like one of those super cheap lawn chairs that breaks the moment you sit on it. That's not rebuilding, that's emotional damage with extra steps. But here's where things get even hotter. Garrett didn't just toss a little shade. He turned the whole stadium into darkness. He made it crystal clear that this team's losing vibe isn't some growth process, it's straight up complacency. He's tired of hearing next year will be different when every next year looks exactly the same, just wrapped in a brand new excuse. And to make the whole thing feel even more like a movie scene, Stefanski didn't take the criticism quietly. Nope. He decided to clap back in the most classic coach mode ever by saying a whole bunch of words that sound deep but don't mean anything at all. You know the routine. We've got to execute better. We need to play as a team. We'll look at the tape. It's basically coach poetry that translates to, I don't know what to tell you. If you've ever imagined a deer slipping around on ice, That's the exact picture of the offense right now.
What direction? And my question stays the same. It's beginning of the year, end of the year. Are we still focused on winning? We're still trying to win one loss on the line. So we can figure that out. I'm all on board.
But you did have a conversation with them about that.
Yeah. I mean, it was that, and they agreed. We still are in agreement on that, and we got to go out there and get a win against the Jets at their place.
The quarterback spent more time on the ground than on his feet, and not in a good way. 6 sacks. 6. That's not a stat line, that's a distress signal. Every time he dropped back, Jets defenders rushed in like they were storming a Black Friday doorbuster sale. The pocket collapsed quicker than the Browns' playoff dreams, and even when Gabriel actually got time, those rare, almost spiritual moments, he still launched some throws that missed so badly it made the crowd gasp. NASA probably spotted some of those throws from space because they were flying anywhere except where they needed to go. There was one play where Cedric Tillman was standing wide open with nobody around him. All Gabriel had to do was drop the ball somewhere in the same zip code. Instead, he launched it like he was trying to hit the cameraman on purpose.
Past 2 seasons, the Cleveland Browns are 5-21. They have won 5 out of their last 26 games. They have brought so much joy to opposing teams. Teams like the New York Jets, who are literally openly trying to tank. They traded their 2 best defensive players this week. They don't want to win. And the Browns still lost. We are the most undisciplined team in the NFL. The least fun team to watch. We're just so hopeless on all.
You know it's bad when even Madden would pop up a little message like, "Are you sure you want to keep playing?" And somehow, after watching all this chaos unfold, Kevin Stefanski still stood there saying, "Yeah, he's our guy. We're sticking with Dylan." Sticking with Dylan? At this point, Dylan should be sticking to the bench like glue. Stefanski keeps talking about wanting to let the young guy develop, but it looks more like he's developing stress for the entire city. Fans are losing it, players look fed up, and this locker room is one disagreement away from needing a licensed therapist on the payroll. Meanwhile, Stefanski just stands there with that calm, blank expression like everything's perfectly fine, as if he's the captain of the Titanic, casually telling everyone the ship is unsinkable while the deck is literally filling with water. Garrett's frustration isn't some ego trip. It's pure exhaustion.
Browns will fire Kevin Stefanski, and this is why. I think their GM and their ownership came in and said that they have to be better than 3-14 this season, and I don't think they can be better than 3-14. We watched this game this weekend against the Jets, who are one of the worst teams in the National Football League. No disrespect to the Jets, but that's just the reality of what it is. And they couldn't even beat the Jets. Like, you look at the Browns, they're at a point where, yes, Dylan Gabriel had a kind of, he had a completion high, game this weekend, but he threw the ball, I think, 45 times. Correction, he threw the ball 32 times, went 17 for 32, passed for 2 touchdowns, but he only had 100.
He's been carrying that defense on his shoulders for years, and now he's forced to watch the offense crumble every single week while being told to trust the plan. At some point, the plan starts sounding like a bedtime story you tell fans just so they don't panic. Building what exactly? A permanent January vacation? Because that's what it feels like. This whole situation is turning into the NFL's most uncomfortable family dinner. Stefanski sitting at one end of the table insisting everything is under control, while Garrett is at the other end staring him down like, "Bro, pass the accountability." And the quarterback? He's just sitting in the middle wondering if anybody brought dessert or an escape route. The sad part is, fans have watched this same movie so many times they could quote the script. Every season kicks off with that cautious Cleveland hope, new players, new energy, fire hype videos. And by the middle of the season, it flips right back into the same old storyline. Blown leads, strange coaching decisions, and a fan base screaming into the air like it owes them answers. This Jets game wasn't just another loss. It felt like the moment the whole city snapped. Because this wasn't a defeat, it was a message loud and embarrassing. It basically said, this team isn't getting better. It's stuck. Even the Jets players looked confused afterward, like they weren't sure if they were allowed to celebrate. You could almost picture them checking the scoreboard twice like, yo, we actually won? For real? Meanwhile, Browns fans were blowing up their group chats, debating whether it's time to rebuild the rebuild. And Stefanski?
Performance that. Does the loss diminish how you feel about your performance today at all, I guess?
I would throw the whole performance away for a win. I'm frustrated. I want to win. I don't care how much time is on the clock. They got their starters in. There's a chance we can win. I want to be a part of that. I don't care how dire the situation looks.
He's out here trying to spin this disaster into something positive, like don't call me out publicly, even though the whole ship is sliding toward a cliff. The vibe is like watching a slow-motion car crash with everyone inside arguing about whose turn it is to hold the steering wheel instead of actually turning it. It's pure chaos with a straight face. What makes it even heavier is that Garrett didn't sound angry just to create drama. He sounded disappointed in that deep, painful way only a guy who's been through too many Cleveland heartbreaks can feel. It's that I gave this team everything and we still lost to the Jets kind of pain, and it hits different because people know he means it. And in that dark, classic Cleveland way, it's almost funny. Because if there's any franchise that can turn a promising season into a full-on identity crisis, it's the Browns. Their motto at this point might as well be, don't get your hopes up. And the wild part?
Gee, let's get to that next. I'll keep it simple. Is there any excuse for this Browns defense, not to dominate this Jets offense, which has struggled mightily this season?
No. They should dominate, but the tricky part about this is the Browns defense has the ability to dominate and still lose the game. They can go out here and play very well, get off the field, but it may be one or two plays that score points. Maybe the Browns offense gives up a short field. They get some points. Maybe there's a turnover that ends up in points. We had a safety, and we almost had a pick six.
This might just be the beginning. Once a superstar like Garrett goes public with this level of frustration, the countdown starts. Stefanski has to fix things fast, or he's out. Trust disappears, unity cracks, and the one guy who actually looks like he cares about winning might start checking out mentally. The team already looks split, and the season's not even over yet. The offense looks completely lost out there, and Garrett's patience is basically running on life support at this point. But the comedy doesn't end there, because somehow...
Blow up the whole damn organization. Fire everybody. It's over. Losing to the New York Jets of all teams in the National Football League when you had 2 weeks to prepare. We're coming off a bye. What did you do on the bye week? What was the
Even after all this chaos, there are still Browns fans saying, just give it time. Time? This franchise has had decades of time. If time alone fixed anything, the Browns would be stacking Super Bowls like trading cards by now. This isn't about time anymore. It's about leadership, accountability, and realizing that maybe, just maybe, the rebuild has become a fancy way of avoiding real progress. And the wildest part, Stefanski still acts shocked that anyone dares to question him.
Which is against my job description. I have to get on here and speak about this shit. What do you even say after a loss like that? I was not in the mindset that I'd have to be making a video right now about a loss today. It's the New York Jets. The team just blew up their whole team on trade deadline day, and then they beat us.
Man, you're losing to teams running backup quarterbacks with fan bases that mentally checked out before Halloween. You don't get to look confused. You should be worried. Honestly, Myles Garrett might have done Stefanski a favor by saying what everybody else was too polite to say out loud. Sometimes you need someone to yell, "The ship is literally on fire," before the whole crew starts roasting marshmallows on deck. But whether Stefanski actually listens, that's the big mystery, because lately, stubbornness has become his whole personality. He'll double down on a bad decision just so he can say he's being consistent. And sure, consistency is cute until the whole building is burning down around you. Just imagine the headlines now. Myles Garrett versus Kevin Stefanski. Dawn of dysfunction. That's exactly how this mess feels. So how much longer can the Browns keep pretending this is all part of some genius master plan?
Stefanski should not have a football job today, but he still does. I don't understand it. This is getting to the levels of Hugh Jackson now, of the rope they are giving Kevin Stefanski. Yes, he did win multiple games with 5 different quarterbacks in 2023. But now he's like 5-24 since then. He can't win a football game. He can't pick a quarterback. He has a quarterback that might be good at the game of football that was drafted with little Dylan.
How long before the trust the process crowd finally realizes the process might not be a process at all? It might just be completely broken? Garrett's not the villain here. He's the one pointing at the giant cloud of smoke while everyone else keeps pretending it's just mist. And honestly, that's what makes this whole situation so painfully hilarious, because deep down, every Browns fan knows he's right. They're just too exhausted to say it out loud anymore. This saga isn't anywhere close to being finished either. The Browns still have time to fix everything, or time to double down on pure unfiltered chaos. And let's be real, chaos might be the only thing this franchise has mastered. It's basically their whole identity now, the chaos franchise. Some teams build legendary dynasties. The Browns build internet memes. Every Sunday, the NFL world tunes in not to see if Cleveland can win, but to see how creatively they managed to lose this time. It's almost impressive for real.
And let's pin the ears back and let's go hunt. I mean, it didn't really seem like they wanted to drop back, too much and extend the play. So if they're not going to do that, they didn't really have any other way to move the ball. So I think we kept them contained pretty well, even if they didn't want to push downfield.
Myles, you moved around the front a lot. Was that by design? How much did how much did that kind of go in the game plan because of matchups you saw with Miami?
You can't teach this level of self-destruction. It's like performance art painted in blown leads and head-scratching play calls. Stefanski keeps insisting that all of this is part of a learning curve. Sure, maybe Gabriel is learning something, but what exactly is the rest of the team learning? Patience, stress tolerance, maybe how to plan for next year's draft? Because if losing to the Jets counts as learning, then this squad is about to graduate with honors. And while Stefanski keeps preaching development like it's a motivational speech, the locker room feels like a reality show, one episode away from a reunion special titled Who Threw Whom Under the Bus. The funniest part? The fans can feel it too. Cleveland's fan base moves like a group of emotionally seasoned survivors. They've lived through every twist, every rebuild, every false promise. They don't even get mad anymore. They just sigh, open their phones, and start making memes before the fourth quarter even starts. That's when you know it's real bad, when laughter becomes the last line of defense. The wildest part in all this is that the tension inside that building is starting to feel like a storm, waiting to snap. You can tell the players are walking around with that tight energy, like they're trying not to say the wrong thing because one more bad question might set the whole place off. And the crazy thing is, you can see the split forming.
All week, you cannot lose to a tanking team. But the Browns said, tanking? We laugh in the face of tanking. Ha 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 ha. The Cleveland Browns somehow, today, managed the most incredible display of absolute suckage. And I've been watching the Browns for like 30 plus years now. And this has got to be the one that takes the cake. Somehow, at the end of the game, even though it was already out of reach, let's just be honest with it, we're only down a touchdown. But the Browns decide on a third down stop, forcing fourth down, they're just going to commit a holding, give the Jets a first down, and then with just the slightest sliver of hope left, maybe the Browns could get the ball back and put something together. Guess what?
The guys who still believe in Stefanski's plan and the ones looking around like, man, I don't know how much more of this I can take. It's turning into a silent divide that's getting louder every week. Garrett stepping up and calling things out just put a spotlight on everything the team tried to keep quiet. Suddenly, every little mistake feels bigger. Every sideline moment gets replayed, and every comment from a player gets dissected like it's a clue to the whole mystery. And now, the pressure is sitting heavy on Stefanski's shoulders because the whole league sees what's happening. The cracks aren't tiny anymore. They're running across the whole structure. And what makes it even more dramatic is how close this team is to spiraling into full meltdown mode. You've got frustrated veterans looking around like they've seen this movie 1,000 times, and you've got younger players trying to stay positive but clearly wondering if they signed up for the wrong storyline. It's that awkward energy where nobody wants to say it out loud.
That loss was absolutely terrible by the Cleveland Browns. 27-20, getting drubbed by the New York Jets. Embarrassing. Embarrassing. Kevin Stefanski should be embarrassed. The players should be embarrassed. All the coaches should be embarrassed. Get rid of them all. Clean house. I've had it. I'm done. This team is not tough. They're undisciplined. They're not smart. This is rock bottom. This is rock bottom.
But everyone knows something's got to change, and soon. Meanwhile, the media is circling like sharks because Cleveland drama is basically their favorite late season snack. Every press conference feels like it could turn into a headline, and every game feels like a test of how much dysfunction one franchise can juggle at once. And the fans, they're watching this whole thing unfold with that mix of disbelief and deja vu, like, here we go again. But somehow worse. One thing's for sure, this situation is turning into a pressure cooker. And if someone doesn't step up and calm it down, something's gonna blow, and it won't be pretty. And still, somehow, there's this tiny flicker of hope floating around that maybe, just maybe, Garrett calling things out in public finally snaps this team awake. Maybe one morning, Stefanski spills his coffee, looks in the mirror, and realizes real leadership isn't about protecting mediocre results. It's about owning the failures and fixing what's broken.
Trying to hide it. They traded Sauce Gardner. They traded Quinnen Williams. And we were only a 2.5-point favorite against them, which I thought was a shocking thing. I thought we should have been a way bigger favorite over them. I guess I'm the stupid one because we come out here and lose to the Jets. Like, come on. Listen, there was a lot of things that annoyed me about this game. Special teams, horrendous. Bubba Ventrone needs to go. But it doesn't get any worse than how do we get to the end of the game and we really fall for that bait?
Maybe he finally sees that sticking with your guy doesn't mean ignoring every single sign the guy's not ready to lead anything right now. But come on, this is Cleveland. Hope here works like stadium Wi-Fi. Unreliable, glitchy, and gone the moment you need it the most. So chances are next week brings another lesson, another growth opportunity, and another reason for Garrett to look up whether meditation counts as a tax-deductible coping strategy. Still, you got to give Cleveland their credit. They stay entertaining no matter what. You can't predict the score, but you can always count on drama, denial, and a coach trying to explain why trusting the process somehow includes a quarterback getting sacked 6 times by the Jets. Only the Browns can make that sound normal. So as this team marches into yet another chance to improve, remember this, somewhere out there, Myles Garrett is watching game film with the expression of a man realizing he could have joined literally any other team. And maybe, just maybe, Kevin Stefanski is still pacing around telling himself this is all part of the plan. A plan that seems to be working beautifully for everyone except the Browns. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you on the next one.